All right, well, aloha and welcome to our Lahaina community meeting. We have a very, very full agenda, so we're going to get right to it. But before we start, as always, we respect our place and our kupuna of the community. So we're going to ask Uncle Lawrence if he wouldn't mind offering a blessing to us for the meeting and the space that we are in so that we can continue with this evening. Uncle, coming to you.
Thank you, Maina. In Jesus' name, we thank you, Almighty God, for providing us with this place and for providing this gathering that we will learn from. Almighty God, we ask that you be with us, guide us through this time, give us strength, give us courage, and give us knowledge. Lord, we ask this in Jesus' name. And we ask thee, Almighty God, that you bless all our county leaders and nonprofit leaders, that they may be able to help us through this. Give them the strength, the wisdom, and knowledge that they will be able to help us through all of this. Dear God, we ask of your blessings. And we thank you of your blessings. And we ask that as we go through this meeting, that you keep us all safe and healthy. And that as we leave, we ask the Almighty God in Jesus' name to clear this place of any negative and whatever is left through this meeting, that it be kept safe and healthy for the children and faculty of this school. And we thank you again, Almighty God, for this day. Amen.
Thank you, Uncle Lawrence. Welcome again to tonight's Lahaina community meeting. As a reminder, of course, we want you to take care of yourselves, so we never ever want to forget that there are resources available. We tell our own team this, so please take care of yourself. If you need support, mental health care, please use a QR code, and you can always see the slides on our mauirecovers.org site, but you can also make use of these phone numbers here. I see some of you taking a photo of it, so please do. These are the same information we bring every month because it's that important to do so. And then I'm going to ask Army Corps if you could put the poster down just for now so folks on the back can see it. Thank you. So tonight, like I said, we have a very full agenda, lots of information coming to you. We will get an update from the Army Corps of Engineers with us tonight, their team. We'll talk a little bit, we've been talking about this for a few months now, about preparing for the transfer of the wildfire debris from our temporary Olowalu site over to the central Maui site. So we're getting closer and closer. While it's been a few months, we've been mentioning it. We also told you we will give you regular updates as we approach June. And June is the aim-for start date, as we've been saying, that was dependent on the completion of the permanent site's construction on the Central Maui side. You're also going to hear from the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA representative will be talking about the Wahikuli Gravity Sewer, something exciting, right? The Gravity Sewer Draft Environmental Assessment for Wahikuli. So she's just going to give you an update on where we are with that and the status. Office of Recovery, as usual, will give us an update on how are we doing on rebuilding Lahaina town, important things that are going on in town, so they'll be sharing that. And some of you may have learned a little bit about Maui Emergency Management Agency's Genesis Protect program to help us with evacuation during the times of need. So they're going to brief us again on that because we really want to make sure folks sign up for the Genesis app along with all the things that MEMA, Maui Emergency Management, are bringing forward for us. And we invited Maui Fire Department to come tonight. Many of you has asked us what is the most current information on hazard mitigation. And so we invited our friends from Maui County Fire. We have their assistant chief here with us tonight. We're going to hear a little bit about that. And then we're going to take questions at the end. And then we're going to offer some time for the tables. I know that the resource tables have been really helpful for many. So we always want to give that time so you're not here very, very late. Coming up next month, we still try to do the online one, the webinar. So please stay in touch with us that way. And of course, we'll be back June 4th as we head into the summer. That would be our next community meeting right here. Same time, same place. Mayor is unable to be with us tonight, and I don't see Council Member Paulton. Is she here? Okay. Mayor Bisson is under the weather, so he's not with us tonight, and I don't know where Council Member is. She may be delayed, and we'll offer some time at the end if she wants. Until then, we're going to proceed with Lieutenant Kendall. Do you want to do this the clicker? Okay, great.
Mahalo for being invited back to provide an update, but before I move into updates, I miss the camera every time. I still have not learned in 4 months on the job, but thank you again. I want to introduce the Honolulu District Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Adrian Biggerstaff. This will be my last meeting as I take my family off of Oahu to the mainland to take command at Fort Knox, but wanted to introduce Colonel Adrian Biggerstaff, let him introduce himself, and then we'll go into the update.
Aloha, everybody. I may look like a new face here tonight, but I promise you I've been behind the scenes for the past nearly year, supporting from Oahu. Our team is here. We're here to stay. So again, I'm not new to the scene. We've been here, been supporting. Very happy to be here in full earnest this time. I'll be here for the next few months covering down in and out. So if you need anything, see me around, please come ask me if you have any questions about what the Corps is doing. Again, this is excited to be here. Not my first day on the job, though, so it's good news for the community and also USACE. So I'll pass back to Colonel Kendall, but I'm looking forward to communicating with you all in the coming months as we get into this final push with debris. The team's working really hard on that, and I think we're getting all the planning in place to make it a very smooth process. So thank you all, and thank you for being here tonight.
Before we let Lieutenant Colonel continue on, like we always do here on Maui, I think we're the only one in the entire nation of emergency response. We always aloha our exiting folks who have been with us for a very long time. So on behalf of the community of Maui, we give you our aloha and thank you. Yeah. All right. Now I can turn it back over.
Thank you, and again, it's been an absolute pleasure to serve and support this mission since August of 23. Very happy to be able to transition this locally to the district, and so I will continue on into the good news. Piling removal complete. 237 pilings removed. You see the action photo before and after. So about 2.5 months ahead of schedule, safely delivered. So we're very happy to be complete with that. Contractor demobilized and closed that out. So a big shout out to our Navy partners, our federal partners with FEMA, state partners and county for partnering with us on this very important portion of the mission to deliver this early. So thank you, everybody. All right, so what I know a lot of us are focused on as we move into the next month with that June 1, or that 1st of June target date where we begin the transfer of the Lahaina fire debris from the temporary debris storage site to the permanent debris storage site in central Maui. The updated and transfer closure plan available there at the QR code. I'll pause there for a minute. And we've recently added some frequently asked questions. So in response to the questions that we have been getting both emailed in and from the community, wanted to be able to make sure that that is available to everyone to read through. It'll probably generate more questions, but that's a good thing. If we can't answer it today, we'll add it to the frequently asked questions, and we'll provide that feedback to the community and our partners. So the transportation route, we're final on the transportation route, approximately 19 miles round trip, taking between 2 hours to 2.5 hours per truck across Honoapi'ilani to Kiuilani, and then the primary route being off of Kiuilani, across cane routes, crossing Veterans, and into the permanent debris storage site. What we've identified is 2 alternate routes. You know, a plan never goes as you want all the time, so being able to keep debris moving, our fire debris moving from the TDS to PDS is paramount, so that we can complete this within the 5 months that we planned. So we've given alternate route 1 and alternate route 2 identified on the map in the green and black dashed lines and the yellow and black dashed lines accordingly. What does it look like for our trucks as they get loaded and then unload? So much like the fire debris as it moved from Lahaina to the temporary debris site, it will be wetted on site, loaded in and wrapped in the industrial wrapping. It'll move down the TDS to the scale site, and then generally northwest along the road, the access road by the highway, and then out at the same light, the same traffic control lights that were used as we moved the debris out of Lahaina to the TDS. So a lot of you that saw the traffic, that saw the signals, it's the same location. We'll make the left-hand turn out onto the highway and move from there, and then the right-hand turn for the trucks, the empty trucks returning, will come off of the highway right back into the TDS. We've had some questions on, you know, can we adjust the start date or excuse me, not the date, the start time in the morning for the hauling. Right now, the answer is no. We want to be able to maximize our hauling window, and that's so that we can, you know, from a safety perspective, from a weather perspective, we know that there's going to be days where we can't haul all 10 to 12 hours, where our timeline is reduced. So again, it's to give us that built-in time to be able to haul and plan for that. So I appreciate everybody's flexibility with the daylight hour projected schedule. All right, John, I think you've got the PDS progress, and then we'll work through the frequently asked questions together.
Great, thank you. Might as well stay close, but hello everyone, John Smith, Office of Recovery. Thank you for coming out tonight. It's a good crowd. While you were talking, it just reminded me of a short conversation I had with Robin Shishido. He's here somewhere. He's our state DOT rep. In addition to those crossings at Kuihilani Highway, they've got some cameras up too that's going to help us monitor the progress of this. So thanks for that, Robin. The debris final resting location is here, as you see in the right. There's a picture of the work. It was done, and I do want to apologize to Shane Agawa, our Director of Environmental Management, was not able to be here tonight. That's why I'm giving this update. And I will try to slow down because Shane does a better job at me of slowing down. But the work was done in 2 stages. So we have the permanent disposal site that you see here on the right. This is directly adjacent to the current landfill. The earthwork was completed March 23rd. So that's just the major work with the big equipment. And right now they're finishing up the liner work. And the liner is the plastic that goes down to prevent the waste from getting into the ground. So that work is being completed as we speak. If you have additional questions on that, we can answer them afterwards. So that's the update from DEM. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank our debris task force folks. Zeph's in here, can raise his hand. There's a number of people that were a part of this mission to make this happen, and we're kind of culminating now. And I don't know how to describe how many meetings it takes to make something like this happen, but it's astounding. So I just want to say thanks to the Corps, thanks to the state, thanks to our county departments for working together, primarily DEM and Public Works. So that's the update on PDS. We got to, thank you. Oh, I'm like waiting for the slides to change, but I'm the one that's in control of it. So I'm like pausing for myself. Okay, so the frequently asked questions, and I'll ask Lieutenant Colonel to jump in on some of this, but you hit it on some of it when you were speaking. When is the daily transport expected to begin? It's early June, shooting for June 1. Why not spread it out more than 5 months? This needs to be done by the end of the year. We've answered that question before. Why not do night transportation? Do you want to take that one? Yeah.
So for us in addressing this with our contractor, it's safety. One of the critical activities of what we're going to do is the loading and unloading, and we want to make sure we get that right. The way we get that right is maximizing visibility. So doing it during daylight hours, and then ensuring that we're transporting it when our drivers can see. They're awake, they're active, they're ready to go. So it is from a safe delivery and transportation point of view that we're going to execute this portion of the operation during the day.
Maybe the last question?
And if the debris hauling truck is involved in an accident, we are establishing with our contractor strike teams to be able to rapidly support an accident, whether that's a flat tire, a spill, an accident that results in a spill. And we're actually going through multiple iterations of planning with emergency management services, our contractor, and the county to make sure that we get it right. Our final planning conference on that is May 16th. We're going to conduct a tabletop exercise and work through exactly the what ifs. If this happens, then what, and how does that call work? How do we work through that process so that we're ready to go? And we've worked through the what ifs by the time 1 June happens. So the bottom line, if our trucks will be well marked, we'll know that they're Lahaina debris trucks at a bare minimum to the community. If you see an accident that's involving one of our trucks, it's a call to 911, and then we will work through the process of USACE notification on how we respond to that in conjunction with EMS.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, team. Okay. You wanna?
Lieutenant Colonel, one more question, because I know we're getting it and you're getting it. What's preventing blocking off time in traffic, the schedule in the morning? Have we looked at allowing for workforce traffic in the morning, and what are some of the factors that require us to just keep going without starting late in the day?
Thanks, Mahina. Great question. It's to maximize the allowable time for us to be able to haul. We understand that over the course of the 5-month period, that whether it's weather, it's potentially maintenance, that we may not always be having 200 trucks on the road every day making 4 trips. We know that we have to average that to make sure that we meet our 5-month requirement. And so if we take away certain time chunks out of that 5-month period, it reduces our ability to deliver this in 5 months, understanding that, well, hey, Colonel Kendall, you still have November and you still have December. That's some natural float that we built into the schedule to account for unseen issues. And right now we don't want to start to chip away at that, a self-imposed restriction to start to chip away at that, because there's going to be environmental factors that will potentially force us to slide into that time frame. Understand it's a great question. I'm happy to continue to field that over time, especially once we're giving you the progress updates. How many trucks have we done? What's the tonnage? What's left to move? Where some of that flexibility may come into play. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Okay, now we have the EPA with us to give an update. Samantha, come on up, down. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Do I need that clicker? Yeah, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Samantha. I'm here with my partners from County of Maui Department of Environmental and Management.
Hi, my name is Romel Llanos with County Maui Wastewater.
So my coworkers have presented on Wahikuli a few times, so in the interest of your time, we're going to keep this brief. But we wanted to give you a quick update because we are almost through the first phase of this project. So there's two phases. The first is our environmental assessment phase, where we looked at cultural, historic, and environmental impacts and released a draft report. And then the second phase is the design portion of the Wahikuli design project. So we have just released the draft EA. It is available to review and comment. Our finding was of no significant impact to any of the above areas. You can find it at that website right there, tinyurl.com/wahikulidraftEA. And we'd really love your comments. If you'd like to read it and give us comments, then that email on the previous slide is the best place. The comment period ends on May 23rd, so it's important that if you are interested in giving comment, that you do so. We are then going to move into the 30% design phase, and a critical part of the 30% design phase is the topographic survey and geotechnical assessment. So Romel's going to talk about that.
So for the topographic survey and geotechnical borings, we're going to follow SHPD, the State Historical Preservation Division's conventions and language that needs to be there. We will follow the archaeological monitoring, and we'll have cultural monitors out there when they do any groundbreaking activities.
Thank you. Yeah, we will follow SHPD requirements for that, and that will feed into the 30% design, which we expect to be done in August. So then we'll move on. Our intention is to move on to 60% design throughout the project. I do also want to talk about one other piece that EPA is currently participating in, and that is the Lahaina Drainage Master Plan. This is TA that is to help with stormwater infrastructure in the Lahaina area. So the key piece of this is that when stormwater accumulates in low spots and flows through areas we don't want it to, it can be impactful to the environment. And so the idea is to create infrastructure for either government or commercial or private use that can improve stormwater management, and to kind of propose designs along that line. We have some contractors who are working on this project that will be in Lahaina May 15th to 21st. They will be doing site visits and coming up with these designs, and that work is also anticipated to be complete by August 1st. So if you see EPA and their contractors, that is because we are here working on Lahaina Drainage Master Plan. And I wanted to also say that we will be over here tabling to kind of talk about the Wahikuli sewer project. And if you have questions about, thank you. If you have questions about your individual site, or you want to talk to us about the project in general, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to give you our best engineering expertise. I will nerd out with you all night. And we also have FAQs that we just posted to mauirecovers.org and available here as well. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to John.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks, Romel. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you being here, especially when Shane can't be here. It's good to see the younger DEM staff out. Good job. Aaron's going to help me with this one. I'll get us started. I'm told that, let's see, this is Office of Recovery updates. Oh, look at that. So we were out, you probably saw this already. Does it work? There we go. When we went to do a piling site visit, when the Corps had literally just finished the job, opened up this section of beach, and this guy just showed up, and that was pretty awesome. We want to show you guys that. The sea life is definitely coming back, so I just thought you guys should see that. So very cool. Very cool. We didn't stage that. That just happened. So, okay, CDBG-DR. Can we all say that yet really quickly? Good job. If you're on this, we have a few on the team over here. Raise your hand, guys. Patience is here tonight. I said you don't have to talk tonight, but maybe later we'll see. Shandy, Zeph's on the team. So those of you that don't know, Zeph used to work for the state, and he's jumped ship, and he works for the county now. So he's on our DR team. So thanks for being here. We did, as planned, submitted the action plan. We got it, I think we said we were going to submit it on the 21st. We actually submitted it on the 22nd, and that's okay. HUD's cool with it. They have 45 days to review it. They have started their review. We have started to interact with them on some of their comments. Their comments have been pretty positive so far, so they feel like we're going to have an approvable plan with some edits. They do have that 45 days, so we are at their discretion in terms of timing, but we're hopeful that we can beat that time frame. If we do have any significant comments, we'll have 30 days to make revisions and then resubmit it. So we're basically everything we've told you so far, we are on schedule. We did also initiate and come into a grant agreement with HUD for the initial funds. So a lot of people ask about, is that money really there? Yes. An implementation vendor was selected, and that's another contractor that has very, very specific DR experience nationwide. They're coming on board over the next month or so to help us ramp up all of the programs so that we can be ready for what we call intake and eligibility later this summer. That's all we have for an update for DR. We want to jump into permitting. Everybody loves to talk about permitting. We thought it might be good just to get a sense of like how much has been done. So right now, the county has issued 381 building permits, and this is just in Lahaina. This is just in the recovery zone. There are additional 312 in process. 10 of those have been completed. We have 240 homes under construction. If you've driven around town, I think it's very hopeful. It looks good. And we want to give a special thanks to our departments. Planning department is here tonight. Thanks, Kate. Public Works. They're working alongside. Four Leaf is here. Thank you, guys. I know you guys are working hard. That's a lot of processing. That's way more than we would have ever done before. So just giving you a sense of how much. And here's what it looks like on a map. I think this is a cool map. So those numbers are represented and highlighted on this map, and we can post this. I think did we already post this? This is online right now. Thanks, Stephanie. Shout out for Stephanie, by the way. Stephanie is single-handedly put all these slides together, so thank you, Stephanie. I think this is a really cool map, and it reflects what you see out there in the field today. So the colors aren't the best. You can see it better on your computer, but that's issued permits and pending permits. Okay, I'm going to ask Erin to say a few words on the next few slides.
Thanks, John. Good evening, everybody. Erin Wade. I'm the Deputy Managing Director. As you saw from the building permit slide, there's a lot happening in the residential districts, and we're just kind of starting to engage in the commercial district. So part of that is going to be moving forward, and folks can move forward now, but there's still a lot of public spaces within the historic districts and commercial districts. So the little image that's over there on your right side shows, this is one of the projects that was identified in the long-term recovery plan to do a plan specific for the historic and rebuild. So just wanting to let you know, through the summer, you're gonna start hearing some information that we're gearing up. We're making moves to start the Lahaina rebuild plan. So keep your eyes out for updates on that. Do you have the clicker? You can click. Thank you. And then the other piece to just be aware of is the Royal Complex planning. So you've probably heard of many different terms for this. It was called the Cultural Corridor. Now we're really referring to it as the Royal Complex. So this is the area essentially from the library down to Kamehameha Iki Park and where 505 Front Street is. That is going through its own separate process. It's not a commercial district. It's the area that's primarily owned in public trust. And so conversations about how that can move forward are also going to begin starting this summer. So please keep your eyes out for that. There's going to be updates on Maui Recovers about how to engage for both of those projects. Okay. And then lastly, at one of the meetings recently, Keahiho kind of pressed to see, can we get some ocean recreation access for the community through the summer? So we have been working, Zeph and John and several other folks have been working to try to provide some managed access, because it is still by and large a closed area. We don't want to encourage lots of folks coming down and getting curious. We do want to, though, encourage and offer the opportunity for the community to enjoy the ocean. So moving to the next slide, there's two areas. The first is what was wonderfully utilized this weekend with the surf contest. So the area right off of the library, where there's steps that go down to the ocean if you're going to surf, Harbor's surf spot. This is the spot, and the access point will provide access from Dickinson Street down Market Street to that stairway. So it will be relatively guided. Just so you know, we're not going to offer the opportunity to go cruise all through the district, because it's just not, we're not ready, but we want you to invite you to come back for ocean recreation. So parking, we're working with Lahaina Restoration Foundation and their Baldwin House parking lot as a place to park, and then go surf Harbors if that's where you'd like to go. The next location is at the opposite end, where Kamehameha Iki Park has a pathway through. It's on the north side of Kamehameha Iki. So parking again, where at the corner of Shaw and Front Street, will be made available. There will be barricades, so you won't be able to drive any further down Front Street still. That's going to remain in place through the summer as we continue to clean up and improve and make it ready for public access. But you may access ocean through this pathway, and just asking folks to stay off the walls and barricades. We have seen some of that, and we just want to encourage, please be respectful. This is part of the Royal Complex in particular. So, know that, understand that as you enter this space, please. So I guess this is just the overview map, so you can see generally. We're going to put all of this available on Maui Recovers and make more information accessible to exactly where and when parking access will be available. Okay.
Yeah. So we're just introducing that tonight. It's not ready yet. So, but we wanted to get ahead of it so you folks know what's coming. We are shooting for towards the end of this month, early next month. Okay, upcoming projects. We've talked about a few of these already. The Rebuild Lahaina plan Aaron hit on. There's work that's being planned and done by Harbors, and we'll ask them to come back and give updates in the future. We have a project by Public Works Department that is a project to repair the railing. Everybody remembers the railing in the 700 and 800 block of Lahaina. That was actually a project that was completed and ready to start right before the fire, and it's been on pause. So it's actually ready to start construction in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then the Office of Recovery is working with all of our departments and all of our groups that are on property acquisition types of work. That includes connections that we've all talked about before to make the area safer. That includes some road widenings that we're working with Public Works Department on. We just had a big meeting with, you guys know, Jordan Molina this afternoon to coordinate on that. There are properties that CDBG-DR will be involved with in terms of taking some properties and turning them into open space. All of that stuff is happening behind the scenes, and as it becomes ready for public consumption, we're going to bring it to these meetings and tell you guys what's going on. So we just wanted to let you know that we're working on that. That's property acquisitions and connections. And we also want to remind you that we know not everybody's online, so we're glad you're here, but we are doing our best to stay up to date on social media and Maui County's Office of Recovery and our website. So that was our update from recovery. Now we have Mima. Kono, thanks for being here.
Thank you, John. Can you hear me? Yes. It's really junk to follow such great speakers. I should have studied better in speech class. Anyway, my name is Kono Davis. I'm the Operation Coordination Section Chief at the Maui Emergency Management Agency. I am happy to be here with all of you tonight. I really love to see the community come out in force here in Lahaina. You know, your dedication, your strength, your resilience. It just shows for this moku and the people that are in it. I am a Lahaina resident myself, and part of the reason why I came to the Maui Emergency Management Agency after retiring from the fire department was because I love this moku as well and the people of Maui. So I really commend you guys for coming out here, you know, week after week initially, month after month, online, in person. You know, I see the same people all the time, and I'm proud that we come from a community as such. So you can give yourself a round of applause. Today I was going to talk about the Genesis EVAC or Genesis Protect software that we just procured. I'm going to also talk a little bit about how the Maui Emergency Management Agency is improving. And so I'm going to start with that. I didn't have any slides for that part. I thought I was just going to talk about Genesis EVAC. So you won't see me switch slides from this one for a little bit. Here at the Maui Emergency Management Agency, since the new administrator took over the position, we've changed up a few things. One of them is the organizational structure. We went from 9 personnel. We're trying to go for 22 right now in this fiscal year. We're at 15 right now. And some of that improvements is based on the structure that we're trying to develop. We're trying to develop an ICS type of structure or incident command structure that follows a span of control, which means, you know, you're not doing more work than you should as a single person, as well as a defined line of chain of command and communication so that we're congruent across the board with our partners in the military, with FEMA, and with the state. With that said, we are also engrossed in about 23 active plans that we're contracting out with Tetra Tech. One of the more important ones that are coming up soon is called the CEMP, or the CEMP, and that is called the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan. And that plan will help us not only organize the governmental agencies, but also the community, as well as the non-governmental agencies and businesses. It's a very important plan. We're looking forward to receiving it and approving it after we do the review on it. We also have another one called the COOP plan, the COOP, and it's a continuing of operations plan. And that plan will allow us, the agencies and the government, to develop a system to identify how we can get our critical infrastructure back in place soon after a disaster happens. So we're excited about those 2 plans. Another one that we have our new hazard mitigation specialist over there, Chris, is working diligently on is a hazard mitigation plan. And I know all of you are very interested about that one because it'll identify, you know, how we protect ourselves from wildfires and other hazards within the county. Chief Otsu will also touch on that. We work closely with the Maui Fire Department in regards to the hazard mitigation plan. We control the funding, and we go and get the funding for the grant, and then we help facilitate keeping records for for the fire department in regards to the hazard mitigation plan. We also have new staffing, like I said, some of them which you see over here. I want to introduce our new PIO. Well, she's been here for a little while already. She's actually had some activations under her belt. Eden Stewart back there. You may have seen her in some of the community engagement events. She is great. We also have Courtney Dumlau next to her. She's our community outreach specialist. And so we're really rounding out the department right now. It seems like I thought in the beginning when we would have more people, we would have less work. But that's not the case. We're bringing in more work, but it's good. You know, we're actually reaching more people within the community. We're identifying gaps that we've never seen before. And so we're working diligently in trying to get the agency spooled up to what it can provide with the best service for our community, which is for you all. I should have asked how you run this thing. So there's also, you know, I'm going to talk about the Genesis EVAC software program that hopefully you all can download before you leave this place tonight. And we can help you over there. That's why we are in full force, because we're here to help you get these technologies onto your phone so that you can be ready, you know, for the next emergency that we face. Genesis is not the catch-all for everything, evacuations or notifications. We still are handcuffed to the fact that it is an internet-based program. So if internet is down or you lose power on your cell phone, of course, you know, you can't get the alert. So, you know, we just want to remind everybody that there's still other platforms that we use for notifications. So the top two is the Genesis Protect app, which we want you all to get on your phones tonight if you can. We have QR codes over there that you're able to scan, and the staff can help you get it set up. Also want everybody to sign up for MEMA Alerts, which is also right on the Genesis app. So at the bottom of your setup for Genesis, you can just click the link and you can go right into MEMA Alerts. And of course, you know, the hot topic from since the fire is sirens. So as you all know, sirens in the past were pretty much just for tsunamis. That's why you see the sirens primarily on the coastal areas and not so much upcountry. But since then, the state and the county has adopted the siren as a notification platform for all hazards. We can use it for whatever hazard we want. The only thing is when you hear the siren, what do? You have to turn on your radio or turn on your TV to your local station so you can get the information. What we suggest at MEMA is to have a hand crank radio or a solar powered radio that you can have communication with radio all the time. Seems to be the most secure way of sending messages. That's what I used when I was stuck in Lahaina during the fires. I went in my truck and I turned on my radio. We also have the EAS or the WEA, which is alert systems either on your TV or comes on your cell phones. I mentioned the AM/FM radio. If you do want a list of radio stations that will broadcast the messages, you can visit our website, and it has a list of radio stations, local radio stations that you can tune into. If you listen to a Maui station, more than likely the station is on that list. If you listen to like a satellite radio, whatever, sorry, you know, we cannot control the world, so we're just gonna, you know, keep it to the local community and our radio broadcast people here. Local TV, not many people watch TV much anymore, but it does come across television on the cable, as well as trusted websites like the County of Maui website and social media platforms like the County of Maui and the MEMA social media platforms. All right, this is the part I prepped for, and I forget everything. No, just kidding. So Genesis Protect, it's a new type of software. It allows us to be able to give you some information as well as let you know when you should evacuate. The system is called zoned evacuation. And what that is it's early on in, shortly after the fire, our administrator, Amos, was talking with other administrators and other agencies across the nation. And the general consensus was that zoned evacuation was the way to go. And so we went and we researched all different types of zoned evacuations, came up with Genesis. It looked like a good product. We went through a whole process to make sure that this could work for Maui, Maui County. And we went ahead and got it going. So zoned evacuations, obviously you can cut up the island into zones so that we can systematically notify people so that not everybody is just on the road at the same time. The way that it was developed was with the Genesis algorithms as well as traffic, AI, traffic analysis, as well as the local expertise here on Maui. Because it's a mainland program, we had to reconfigure some of the zones so that it would make sense, right? Maui is unique. It's not like the mainland, and so we went through a lot of trial and error in the beginning trying to figure out how we're going to cut up these zones. And we still have a lot of work to do in regards to some areas where, where it's either remote or it's really dense in population. This is what you're going to see when you pull it up on your phone. You'll probably get an alert. Is there like a, what is it, laser thing on this thing? Oh, yeah. So you're going to get an alert on your phone. Even if it's locked, you can choose an option to just have this banner pop up so you know. You can choose up to 5 zones. So if you have a kupuna that you want to keep track of, or if you have children that don't live with you or family members and you want to make sure that they are notified as well, if, say, they don't have a cell phone, or maybe you just want to see if their zone is going to be impacted by an incident. You can save up to 5 zones. We suggest when you sign up with the staff over there that they walk you through, because it's not as easy as just setting up the program, because there's people's rights, and you have the right to be notified. You have the right for the app to track you. You have the option to choose that. We suggest that you choose always, because if not, then the app will not know where you are. And it also is GPS located. So when you travel into a zone that is under evacuation order and you have that selected, your phone will be notified once you enter that zone. This is what your zone would look like. We have Kaho'olawe over here because we have Kaho'olawe over here because it was the only island that we could train on that all of you would not get notified. Yeah, and so I know Kekoa had a question if we can do training with the community, and we might be able to do it on Kaho'olawe because nobody's going to get pinged that they're under evacuation order. So maybe we can talk story later and figure out something. That's a good idea. We've been only training within our organization and our partners, our immediate partners with the fire department and the police department right now. And we've already discovered a few things that need to be smoothed over so that it will work really good for our community. Let's see. So as I said earlier, when you sign up for Genesis, on the bottom of the page, you'll see the icon. You can click that and sign up for MIMA alerts at the same time, and you'll be good to go. If you want to start right now before we do the Q&A and get to the tables, it looks like a lot of people tonight. So if you want to start, I'm going to leave this up here and try to talk a little bit so you get time to bring out your phones and scan the appropriate QR code so you can start the process already. And then we'll be over there after to answer any questions that you may have. And I really appreciate your time and allowing me to speak to you tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. My name is Ryan Otsubo, Assistant Chief of Support Services for the Fire Department. Sorry, I brought my notes today because I don't want to miss anything. I think all this information is important. So don't mind if I can. I can. Yeah. Okay, so starting off, there's a lot of questions. What is the fire department doing? And I'm here today to explain what fire prevention is doing for our mitigation planning. So after the fires, MFPA, along with HWMO, they brought this training into Maui County to offer it to our Fire Prevention Bureau and also the public. This training was called Assessing Structure Ignition Potential. This was held back in December 2023. In this training, we learned that there are two main causes for structural ignition. One of them is direct flame contact from brush growing too close to structures. And then the second is embers flying near or on your homes, igniting other combustible materials that produce enough heat to ignite your structure. So with that being said, that's how we started developing our mitigation plans. So what's our mitigation plans? The second part was clearance of vegetation. So in that part, we have two sections. Clearance to structures. So anything over 18 inches is considered a fire hazard. So 18 inches to 3 feet will require 30 feet of clearance. Over 3 feet to 6 feet requires 50 feet of clearance. Over 6 feet to 9 feet requires 75 feet of clearance. And anything over 9 feet, we need 100 feet of clearance. The second part was fuel breaks required in large vacant lands. In that one, we have 18 inches to 6 feet will require a 50-foot fuel break, and that is measured from the property line. Anything over 6 feet will require 100-foot clearance. And I do have a picture of our brochure later on that we can show you. Okay, part 2, fuel break program. So it started with getting these high, medium, low hazard maps in the county. So we worked with HWMO, Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, to provide these maps. When we got the maps, we worked with our county GIS team, and they, I guess, modified the maps, putting in the property owners, the streets, the roads, and also the fuel breaks where it's required. And then the next part of this plan is, now that we got the information, we got to ensure that these fuel breaks are in place once per year. So beginning of each summer, our inspectors will go out to make sure all of the high hazard areas have fuel breaks. And for this year, the letters went out last month. Our inspectors are, I think, they're going to start inspections starting in June. Also, this plan, we worked with MEMA, Tetra Tech to, I guess, put a grant in for reimbursements of these fuel breaks. So that grant has passed part 1, and it's looking like it's going to be approved soon, but we can never tell until it's finally approved. This grant is $2.7 million that's going to provide 75% reimbursements for the land clearance. So hope we can get that. And then here's a picture of one of the maps in the Kaanapali area that shows where a fuel break is required. If you look closely, there's 2 different clearances. One is 50 feet, one is 100 feet. So that's an example of one of the areas. Okay, part 3 is an educational brochure. Why is it important? Because each homeowner needs to harden your home so that the embers cannot start fires at your home. So in this brochure, we're going to have brush clearance. It's going to explain the changes in our fire code. We're going to have what's the main causes of wildfire structure ignition, which I kind of said it was brush growing too close to homes and also embers flying near around your homes. There's also a checklist that you can go through, that you can go and do yourself. And then there's other links like to the Ready, Set, Go guides and our brochures and all the other information. I also have some Ready, Set, Go guides and the brochure printed, so I can give that out after this. Here's an example of what the guide is. So on the left, if you cannot see, and if you're in the back, it says the clearance distances away from brush, what that needs to be. And then on the right side, it explains the fuel break portion. So I can hand this out to you at the end. On the other side, we have an explanation of what's the main causes of ignition, and then the checklist on the right. And some of these things are, like cleaning roofs, gutters from dried leaves, putting screens up that are 1/8, I think, inch metal mesh, because a lot of times the embers can fly in your vents, causing your structure to ignite. So that 1/8 inch metal mesh is proven, scientifically proven, that it blocks the embers. Okay. And here's some contact information. If you need to report a brush concern, this is the information. You can email fireprevention@mauicounty.gov, and the phone number is 808-876-4690. And then in conclusion, I wrote something like, so this is a common terminology which we heard from the WUIF conference we attended. It's wildfires are getting worse every year due to climate change. And we all need to do our part, work together to improve. So fire department, MEMA, public, other county departments, they all need to do their part, and so do individual homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Did he look nervous? Can I get the clicker back? It's a gripper clicker. We're going to go into questions, but before I do, I want to point out, so right there, MEMA folks wave, and then right next to them, we'll have the fire department. And this is the booklet he's talking about, Ready, Set, Go. I recommend you take one home tonight. There's actually a page. It's put together. It's a collaborative work, but HawaiiWildfire.org was a driver. But there is a section on defensible space Hawaiian style with what native plants can help you as you replant your yard and why those things will matter as part of your hazard mitigation work for your own properties. So I recommend that. And he also has there the brown information brochure on that table. So please see Assistant Chief, partly because we asked him to come. We like make him work hard. Besides the presentation, I'm just kidding, but please grab their information. We're going to go ahead and take questions for a little bit before we move on to our tables here and where you can come with your own individual things. We're going to do our best. With us tonight, we have the Managing Director, Josiah Nishita, as well. So we're going to use his knowledge. And of course, we have the Deputy Managing Director, Aaron Wade, who you met earlier. So we're going to run the microphones and just ask you, same typical thing, raise your hand if you have a question. We'll do our best. Online questions are coming in. We're working on how we can write those answers into the comment box directly. So just know we keep working on that. I see a hand somewhere. I could have sworn I seen a hand. Oh, Zeph, go ahead. Yes. Oh, okay.
Hi, this is a question I have for the gentleman that was just speaking from the fire department. I have a question regarding, you mentioned the fees that will be charged to people that aren't following those guidelines for whether it be a home or I'm assuming vacant plots of land. Is that correct, sir, that there have been some new regulations for that about the height of the, maybe the weeds that grow up into these areas? It's nice when we know who's living on that property, but if it's a big stretch of vacant land and a cigarette gets thrown in there, or call it, maybe it's Bishop Estate lands, when these fines are imposed, whose job is it to actually follow up with that charge? Who actually follows up? Is it the fire department that follows up with, okay, I'm contacting Bishop Estates, look, you need to have this grass cut, or all the, is there, am I in the right, am I talking sense?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So the first part of your question is who can get charged the fine? And then that answer is anything in the fire code that is a violation the inspectors can give you a warning letter and a violation letter, and we'll follow through with a fine.
And it's the fire department that follows up, is that correct, sir?
And how the fees work is the fire department will, there's different situations. So if it's a grass clearance and the property owner doesn't clear it, the county has a process in place where we have county vendors that clears the property.
And then is that person charged, or that
Yes,
landowner
so the
charged?
landowner will be charged the recovery fee and the fine, the daily fine. And then now, how does that work? So the fire department will bill the owner. If we don't get the money at that point, we have a collections team that we send that to. And then if we still don't get the money, then we send it to our litigation section for a lien on the property.
And lien, okay. I was just curious about that, and I thank you. And just one other question. On the height of that, of the weeds or the debris that goes up, because I think us that live in Maui know, we looked in the fields and going, God, we just had a fire. Those weeds have grown really high. What is that height again, sir, for
So I'll give you the brochure that has
Okay.
all the heights on there, but it's important to know the clearances are from structure to that certain clearance. So if you look in the middle of the mountain, there's no structures. They're not required to cut the brush in the middle of the mountain.
They're not required in the middle
Right.
of the month, but there are times that they are required to
If
cut
there's-
that back.
Yeah, if there's structures in that area, then they need clearance away from the structures.
And I heard you say that's going to be done, your inspectors are going to go out once a year, is that correct, sir?
That is for our fuel break
Just the
plan
fuel
in the high hazard areas.
Yeah.
We're gonna verify fuel breaks are in place.
Okay, in the high hazard areas, just another, just because I'm curious about this, you showed us that map, and I saw that red line on it, right?
Yeah.
That little map. So I'm just curious, do you have any idea, a general idea, how many high areas there are that to be
Okay, so we have almost 100 property, large landowners that we sent letters to.
Okay,
And we kind of worked with our GIS team because we only have 5 inspectors. We can only do so much. So we're going to start in the high hazard areas and potentially move into the moderate areas in
now
the
it's
future.
one time a year, correct, sir?
Correct.
And if a homeowner themselves would see where it could potentially be a problem, that number that you put up in the website, is that what a homeowner might want to, not to get somebody in trouble, but just to say, hey, I'm concerned that it's been so dry in this area, it looks like the weeds, is that, or,
Yep, you can definitely contact that number to
Okay.
report any concerns, and the inspector will verify if it is a violation or not.
okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Great questions. The brown brochure has the grass height and the feet clearance. It's spelled out. So please grab one from that table. I saw a hand up. Did I know I saw one here. Oh, Uncle Lawrence. Zeph, right here in front. Go ahead, Uncle Lawrence.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the information that you have presented. And I don't want to go unsaid, but thank you, Lieutenant Colonel and your team, for your great job. And I ask thee in Jesus' name that Almighty God bless you and cleanse you of all the negative and opala that you have put on your shoulders, that He bless you as you go home to your family and keep you safe and healthy, and that He keeps your family also safe and healthy. We thank the Almighty God in Jesus' name.
Thank you. God's such graciousness. Thank you, Uncle Lawrence. Morris, go ahead. I see a hand there. Yes, your question.
Aloha. I'm just wondering, I don't get to come to all the meetings because I'm displaced and quite a distance away from Lahaina. What's the story with the promise of putting the utility lines underground?
Okay.
What happened to that?
All right. So for those of you who didn't hear, the question is, what is the status of planning for underground utility lines? We actually have we have a team from Hawaiian Electric. So if we can get you, please come up front. Where are they? Please come to the front. Shayna Decker, Director of Government Community Affairs Communications, the longest title ever. Come up and just so we can not have folks try to grab. Sorry, I know it's unplanned, but.
Thank you for that question. So yes, we have received that question before about undergrounding lines, particularly in West Maui. We are here today. We shared in past presentations with the Lahaina community that there are plans to strategically underground power lines. And so we're working through that through our wildfire safety strategy, which we can have all kinds of pamphlets here and reading material. And you can come talk story with us today as well, where it talks specifically about those kinds of plans, including undergrounding, as well as hardening all our electrical infrastructure in various high wildfire risk areas. So it's something that we are focusing on. And as part of the wildfire safety strategy, there's actually a specific project that we'll be looking at in the next couple of months, where we're gonna be gathering more information and coming back to present on specific areas. Yeah.
Thank you. I saw a hand. Zeph, go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering about the Hawaii Interim Housing Program, and I was wondering if there is a timeline on when they reach out to you on like a move-out date. How soon does your lease expire before somebody contacts to you? I know that Mr. Joe Campos isn't here today, but maybe somebody, one of the DCMs, could help have an answer with that.
I don't see Joe Campos's team here, so I'm glad you voiced that tonight during the Q&A, and I'm going to ask our team to maybe check on that and send that message to Joe. Can we make sure we get your contact info right after, just so we can connect you with that? Thank you. And I do want to acknowledge tonight, Lahaina Luna Scholarship Awards or something big is happening on campus. So we appreciate knowing that, because we noticed the crowd here is a little older. So I was like, where's everybody? Like, so someone just texted me and said, oh, we're all at the high school because our kids are getting scholarship, awards and announcements. So I think that's awesome. That's just like we're running two really big things with the entire community doing two different things. So again, raise your hand, please, if you have a question. Okay, we got two here, Morris and Zeph. I know we're making you run. We'll take NT in the front row first, and then right there, Morris, and then we'll go to Jackie and Brown. Go ahead, NT.
I have a question with EPA. Okay, I live on Fleming Road. I know the project is done, but nobody says anything. What's the charge going to be? Because Fleming Road is a big property. So I have 3/4 of an acre property, so maybe I have maybe 25% usage in my house. The rest would be the grounds. And nobody said, when's the letter going out? And what's going to cost us? Everybody's non-committal.
Thank you for your question. So as you said, Fleming Road, the sewer was already completed by USACE as part of the temporary housing project. And, oh, sorry, the sewer main was completed. Can everyone hear me okay? As part of the temporary housing project. So what happens now is that the County of Maui Department of Environmental Management at some point will send letters, and then you will have 180 days after that letter is sent. We also just recently posted an FAQ that included a bit of information that you could reach out to the Department of Environmental Management if you wanted an extension on that 180 days. So it's not an intention to be non-committal, but it is really just that there is time and that you have an opportunity to talk to them as well. We are not doing the Fleming Road piece, so that is already done, but everything else in Wahikuli is under our design scope. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Samantha. We're going to go to, I think we went right here. Yeah, the blue, and then Jackie, and then I saw on the far side. Go ahead.
I have couple questions for the fire department. Do you
Chief,
feel like,
could you come up?
do you feel like once a year is adequate for the Kuia lands out here where the fires have started? There was a fire there a couple months ago. The fire was in August, November. I mean, there's all different months that it starts. Is once a year enough? Could we maybe do community-driven reporting and enforcement besides just once a year in just drought areas or arid areas or high-risk areas?
So good question. When we work with the landowners, they're required to clear it multiple times per year. But because our inspectors are doing, maintenance of facility inspections, they do fire investigation, and then we have like each quarter we do a certain type of inspections. Like we do schools one quarter, we do hotels another quarter, and we do brush one quarter to verify the inspection. So with the 5 inspectors, we felt that once a year verification is more than, we can handle that. But if we go more frequent for inspections, we might not reach the maintenance of facilities. So we're trying to implement a software that we can verify when the clearance happens. It goes into the software, so we can make sure that they're frequently clearing these areas. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, okay. But obviously firefighters that work in Lahaina drive by that like the property out here where the fire started, it doesn't have to be just an inspector that reports the dry.
Correct. Anyone can report,
Anyone can report
that hazard.
Okay. And then, is there anything besides a fire break to mitigate the, where the fires keep starting out here on the 1,200 acres that's owned by Kamehameha Schools Bishop Estate? Besides the fire break, is there any other fire mitigation plan for that particular property where the fires keep starting?
I think all other departments are doing their own types of planning. The things I presented was just from what fire prevention is doing. So I don't know every single detail for each department.
What other department then would deal with fire mitigation over there? If it was not the fire department, then who else would be kind of the big brother watching and doing something about it?
Well, we have, for example, the water department is working on their water supply. We have planning, looking at some other mitigation efforts like golf courses in certain areas. So it's I guess all departments' collaboration on different mitigation strategies. And I cannot speak for other departments on exactly what they're doing at this time. We plan to have a person that is in charge of all mitigation so that they understand what each department is doing that can get that to the community, all the information. But I think we're still working on that.
And do we have a timeline for that? Because we're building right now, so it'd be kind of nice to know that there's sort of a timeline of when that's going to happen. And is there anything besides fire breaks that the fire department recommends for mitigating fires, like where it keeps starting out there? Is there anything else besides fire breaks?
We can look at eliminating ignition sources. Like we give tips through media of what you can do during high hazard red flag conditions. So we try to communicate as much as we can through, Facebook and other means of the media. We also work with HWMO, and they have a lot of different other strategies with their FireWise, HWMO programs. All that information can be found on the website. It's on the brochure. You can look at all of those information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We're going to go, Zeph right there. We're going to take them in the order. And then Zeph right after her there, and then where Morris is. So go ahead, Jackie.
Thanks, Mahina. I'm just wondering, this is kind of just to put out there because they're never here, but is there consideration or discussion in DOT surrounding extending the bus up to either the FEMA project or the state project? Just because it's a pretty steep hill for people to have to walk down to or up back from after getting dropped off from the bus. So I just want to point out that.
That's a great question for our bus system. So I see Chief of Staff here taking that note. We're going to come back with that answer for you. It's a great question. Right behind you. Go ahead. Zeph. No, Zeph, right here. Sorry, Zeph is new. But we're training him, right? Thanks, Zeph. Right after that, we'll go to Morris. Go ahead.
This question is for Army Corps. I just had a question. You said 200 trucks or 200 trips? 200 trips, okay. So 50 trucks. 50 trucks, yeah. And then I'm trying to do the math for how many trucks will be on the road at one time. And so if load and unload is what I put in for half an hour, would that be?
Do you want to grab this so they can hear?
I figure engineering.
35 trucks on the road at a given time between loading, unloading, and then transit time puts it at about 35 on the road. And yep, that's a great question. Let's try to add that to the facts. That's
so
really
35. So you're looking at each way 17 trucks going one way and the other way.
Yep.
Okay. I had a
or 17 and a half, I guess.
Okay. I
just
wanted to try to figure out
how many trucks, major, but
how many trucks was on the road at that one time, and then you're looking at maybe 400 times that the lights will stop traffic. in a day?
I don't want to give you an exact answer on what the traffic control measure would be. We'll have to work with the contractor team to see what the signal plan will be, but thank you for asking the question to give you that detailed feedback.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. We're going to go to that side. Go ahead, Morris.
Aloha. Thank you for the information. My question is related to the fire code. Seeking to understand, are green brakes acceptable in lieu of fire brakes is one question. And the second question has to do with clearance from structures. So a lot of lots in Lahaina are small. So a landowner is responsible for ensuring there's a clearance for anything over 3 feet or up to 3 feet, 30-foot clearance, and then 3 to 6 feet, 50-foot clearance. That applies to all structures. Their structures on their property as well as their neighbors. They can't have a orange tree in their yard that's over 3 feet tall if it's going to be within 50 feet of any structure. Am I understanding this right?
So in the code, we have the link to the code section, and it defines what brush is, and like orange trees are not considered brush. So if you look at the definitions, you can understand what is considered brush and what are allowed plants and shrubbery or ornamental plants is allowed. And then your first question was?
Green brakes.
Okay. Certain types of plants, HWMO recommends you can plant these in place of fuel brakes, but we haven't got that far into it yet. But we can also have agreements that, yes, you can have certain plants working as fuel brakes, and we'll allow that.
Thank you. And thank you for pointing out that not everything woody is a brush. Thank you for clarifying that. That's very helpful. The gardener in me was getting very sad. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm reminded you can also, for those of you who are familiar with the county's C-Click Fix program, where you put that app in, you can go ahead and also report concerns about that, besides calling the Fire Prevention Bureau. We're going to take a couple more questions. I see both hands here, one over there by Morris, and we'll go to Zeph, and then we're going to allow people time to come to the tables. Go ahead, Morris. Oh, hi, Mickey.
Sorry, I'm cutting in front of you, but I'll be really quick. I just want to, Erin touched on it really quickly in her presentation that there was activity down at Lahaina Harbor this weekend. And I want to mahalo Coach Kimball because he had the vision to do that. And he was going to make this happen for the kids, no matter what. And he moved heaven and earth. And I want to mahalo all the partner agencies that worked with him to make sure that they answered his question of how can, and they didn't meet him with no can. And there were people in our community who were not happy that this was happening because they were so worried about the Niele people that would be coming in when they saw activity happening down there. And I wish that more people could have been there in the morning to see the life coming back in the kids and the families that could stand in this Royal Center and start to heal. And that is the magic of what Coach Kimball did. He pushed through the worry and he ripped that Band-Aid off for the Lahaina community. And he started the process of recovery in that space. And so I just want to mahalo him, and I want to make sure that Lahaina mahalos him because he does so much in the background. And he never, ever promotes himself. And this man is diligent to the keiki of Lahaina. So, mahalo, Coach Kim.
So if you haven't met him, that is Lahaina's famous Kim Ball. Thank you, Kim, for bringing the MIL High School surfing meet back to the shores of Lahaina. So thank you, Mikey, for that. Aloha to him. Zeph, our final question of the night. Everything else we're going to ask to bring it to the tables. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm from Fleming Road, too. I get one question pertaining to Auntie, but first of all, I tell Kona Davis, thank you, Rock, for the intersection trip and taking care of that. Mahalo. Okay, my question is on the sewer. When we tie in, we was told 2 cleanouts, right? County and us. Well, we've been hooked up. We're hooking up. I think so we might be the first property to do them, but can you guys put out a plan how it's supposed to be done? Because I think so we ran into a couple of different fittings that we had to change and remove the cleanout from the county side. So for making everybody else easier, I think if they could explain that part.
All right, we're going to let EPA tackle that one.
If I understand your question correctly, you're saying you want to see the plans for the sewer.
No, if they if directions to doing them, because we was first told originally just hook up, tie into the lateral, done, right? But we've been taking out counties clean out now and then adding some different fittings.
Directions of what?
So you want a better detail for how to connect your lateral?
No, I said I'm connected.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you guys can explain to the whole line, what the process will be when they come up to them, because what we were told in the beginning is totally different than now, right?
Okay.
And it's costing money for what we are
Okay.
doing now.
So more clarity on how that connection works between the counties and the homeowners, because
'cause
there's
You guys had on clean out, right, on the county road, which just nothing to
Yeah.
do with us. But we was told we take that out and remove it, so we did.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're
Okay.
not violating nothing.
Okay. Can we talk right after this with Juan? So Juan, you want to explain your position at the county?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Juan Rivera. I am the Capital Improvement Program Manager for Wastewater Reclamation, and we've been supporting EPA on this Wahikuli project. So I'll be happy to answer any questions after,
So I understand your question, and okay. Yeah, thanks.
And it sounds like you want it spelled out so we can offer it to others. So we'll ask Office of Recovery to work with our team to make that spelled out. Okay, so that was going to be our last question, but I see another one there. She actually was before you, sitting down. So since we're gonna allow your question, we'll have her first because she was asking first. Yes, go ahead, and then we'll take.
Thank you, Mahina. This is just because I'm a homeowner and there's been a mention of hazard mitigation. And it's not for anyone specific, just I want our different agencies to know that I'd been checking about using hazard mitigation materials in the rebuilding process. And one of the things I was very interested in, because I saw that metal roofs were one of the materials that wasn't catching fire. I wanted myself to put up a metal roof. And I talked to 2 or 3 different contractors, and I was told it was going to, and one of the bids actually was printed out, it was going to be 30 to 40% more than a composite shingle roof. So one of the things I would ask is a consideration for homeowners, not just myself, but anybody who's in that process of rebuilding, that if we could be looked at one of those areas, because it seems to be such a hot topic right now, hazard mitigation for homeowners, not just, open land. But so I just wanted to make that request to the different agencies for consideration when funding has come in. So thank you for listening to that.
Thank you. I see Office of Recovery nodding their head in agreement, so my hunch is they're going to keep working. Thank you. Our final question tonight, go ahead.
Hi, I just have a couple of things that I'd like to ask for. The Maui recovery website that HUD requires the county to maintain that has accurate information. You might be seeing a dip in the numbers of this meeting because when I've tried to find the dates for the meetings, it doesn't load. and I had another person check it out. So the website is not, sometimes it malfunctions. And then also on social media, the meetings used to get posted. There was a notice, sometimes the day before or the day of, but this week there was not. There was something a week ago, but it didn't have the time or the location. So I made a comment on social media, but I feel that's all I wanted to say. If we could please keep it updated so people can come. And yeah, May is mental health awareness month. As a mental health professional, I'd like to say, because I noticed there was no announcement of that tonight either. Just please take care of yourselves, and let's keep doing this thing.
Thank you for that reminder. And I'm looking at Stephanie to make sure that we can put those notices a little bit more current on the county's page, is what I'm hearing. All right, with that, we mahalo you. Thank you again, and I appreciate your time tonight. And as was said, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, so please take care of yourselves. Please visit our tables. Our teams are here. Just find one that you need information from. Drive safe, everybody. Aloha.